Live. This is what, episode 171. Jesus, we've been doing this a while. You have a YouTube account, right? You do YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
All right. I'll when we're done, after I start posting some videos and shorts and stuff like that, I'll send you a collaborator link.
Okay.
All you have to do is click on it, and then it kind of shows this to both of our things, so more people will come see you. Hopefully.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I've never done a collaborator link with YouTube before.
Yeah, it's pretty. All it basically does is I think it tries to steer a little bit more traffic. Like if we had Warshak on, we had a lot more views by it showing it to his audience as well. So it helps out everybody. I think.
Oh, cool. Okay.
All right, so that's that. Let's go back to that. All right, boom. There's Riverside. Yep. There's this. Yep. This can go over here. I wish I had 3 monitors at this house. I like having 3 monitors.
Yeah. I might
Oh.
upgrade to two at some point.
Oh, you're doing this with only one monitor? You're
It's
insane.
it's an ultra wide one, so it's like two. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what
Ah.
she said. But no, yeah, no, having even having the pilot with the late, yeah, I have the ultra wide one right here, but I also use my laptop screen right here for 2 monitors, and it's nice to
Mm,
have the fancy zone set up and all that. But having the 3 monitors is key.
yeah.
And then if you have 3 monitors, you might want to have 4 monitors and get the, you know,
Oh, there we go.
eventually you'll
Yeah.
look like the evil boss here.
Oh, I look like a
Um,
'90s hacker getting into the mainframe.
exactly. Oh, do you have 2 accounts on Twitch?
Me?
Yes.
No, I shouldn't. Oh, did I type it?
No, hold on.
No, no, no. I did. I typed it out each one separately. So at Jiminator HS on Twitter, the
No, no,
Jiminator
no, no,
HS
no.
on Twitch. Oh,
On
sorry.
hold on. On Twitch, there's the Jiminator HS, and there's a the Jiminator HS underscore. So you might have somebody
What?
impersonating you. Yes. At least that's what I see right now.
Oh,
And it's also got your sunglasses, and it's just the same icon.
okay. I'll have to investigate that. That is not good.
No, but that's why I was telling you.
No, but thank you.
um, I'm sending you a screenshot in our chat of what I see right now, just so if you don't see it, you don't think I'm making it up.
Huh.
Um, Sorry to add a little stress before we start recording.
Oh, it's no big deal. It's,
Oh,
it's super
I
weird.
I ran a wild guild for a long time, and one weekend I went to. This is before we had the little authenticators, whatever, or around there. And I was at Foxwoods in Connecticut, and while I was there, I got a message from a guild mate. They're like, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" It's like, "Cause you are logging in and out of your account." And yeah, I was hacked at that point.
Oh,
Like,
damn.
great, yeah, yeah. Nope. It was like, no, 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 that's me, and that's why I had to change my email and stuff like that. And you can tell how long ago it was because the email I created was Tito plays WoW 2010 at gmail.com.
Damn. I will say my main account my main account might actually be older. I'm curious how old that Gmail account
Well,
is actually.
my main account. That's not my main account. That's my. I'm
Oh.
like I made a Warcraft account for that, but my
Ah,
I had AOL, dude. We had AOL at one point. All right, cool. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good here. Good here. Good here. Let me just switch over. Vampire Pilot made us go live. So yeah, I realized that I still have to figure out how I'm going to edit these 2 shows because I no longer have Audition.
oh
So my
no.
plan is to use Farlight in Resolve. And if that doesn't work, I'll have to get Audition for a month, and because I have a lot of editing to do in the next 2 days.
Well, if you're just doing audio editing, Audacity should be pretty decent, at least for like a free program.
Yeah, we might, but I already have. I'm gonna try the what do you call it? Da Vinci looks okay. I just
Oh,
haven't. It
DaVinci's
looks like
great. It just has a bit of a learning curve,
no.
but it
I
is a
I use
really
Da
good
Vinci.
program.
I use Da Vinci all the time. I just haven't used it for the Farlight audio.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've never
So
used
I
DaVinci for audio, but could be
no.
good.
I started off with Premiere, and then then Adobe double their price, and it was like f that noise. So I picked up Da Vinci, and then I canceled my account, but I continue to have Audition for like a few months. I was like, okay, we're
Okay.
just gonna keep working with this, and then they were like, hey, you want to pay for that? I was like, no. And they're like, okay, bye. So and I like Audition, but like we need to move around. So well, let me see. So we are live here. We are live here. Let me just try here. Oh, okay. That's that. That's that. That's that. Hopefully, I am getting double sounds. Here we go. All right. Cool. All right. So I think that's it. I think we're good to go. Has everybody got a drink? Everyone got their cats all taken care of? Everyone ready to talk a little Hearthstone?
Of course.
As ready as we're gonna be, I think.
All right. Then I will get us going. Give me a second here. Let me turn the volume down because it's always so loud. Let me actually make sure I click on the right one this time. Welcome back to Bread and Butter, where we're serving up the basics for Hearthstone improvement. This is episode 171, and as always, I am joined by Pilot. Pilot, how are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And a returning guest today, one of our favorite people out there in the universe, is TheJiminator. Jiminator, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing well too.
Fantastic. So, what have you been up to in Hearthstone lately, my friend?
What have I been up to in Hearthstone lately? Well, the big thing was that I spent most of this month just obsessed with trying to get a bad deck idea to work. The idea was Dragon Soul Herald Rogue. So you use Dragon Soul, which I thought would actually be decent in Rogue because Rogue has Agent of the Old Ones, so you're able to sculpt your hand pretty well, and then you can kind of do just a big Dragon Soul tempo push, and then you just use the Herald cards because they're good. Uh, the deck was not good, so I had to get Legend with Animal Companion Hunter. But yeah,
Yeah, fantastic. We actually we made a guide for that. No, Pilot, what have you been up to?
Not too much. Played just a handful of days as I had time this past week. But I saw that Burn Mage was doing quite well with the meta shift, so I went back to that deck, which I was playing first week, and then the meta shifted away from it. And yeah, it was good. I went like 15 and 3 to Legend with it. And just kind of ran through. Yeah, throwing damage face does really, really well when you're facing a companion hunter, apparently. So, and that, the couple losses were just, I think I had a rogue that out tempoed me, or no, it was a rogue that got the armor from Elise and then also generated a greater healing potion or a healing rain, or something. They healed for 12 for
oof.
like 1 mana. I'm like, I'm out of damage. I'm leaving this game. But yeah, did that, and then played a little bit of BGs to clear like the other modes quest today, and ended up steamrolling through a lobby where I got some early demon fodder and shot buffs going. I had a picky eater that was not that picky. It was like a 1,800 or something by the end of the game, but that was enjoyable. The other then had a dragon game that I didn't know what I was doing, but I got enough tempo. It got me to second place until I ran into giant reborn mechs.
That's fair. That's fair, and that's always fun. Today is the last day of the month. Today is May 31st, right? So I'm just making sure 30 days has September, April, June, November. Yeah. Okay. I just know that tomorrow's June 1st. And I had made a pledge this month to not play totally awful decks. And figuring out where that line was, interesting. I kind of drew the line at Blood, and Holy Death Knight. And I pulled it up while we were there. So I went according to on stream, like where it's on HS Guru. My record with that deck this month, or at least not even maybe longer than this month, was 124 and 85. So not bad. Outside of that, we played some Companion Hunter. I played a lot of No Minion Demon Hunter. Played some Shaman to clear some quests, and my month of having to play the good decks are done. We'll talk about the cards I like in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we had some. We finished kind of like in the middle of Legend. We had like 8,000 or something like that. So we'll see where we are. But overall, compared to where my MMR was the month before, where I was trying to crack myself back into Diamond, well, I think I'm in a better spot now. So I'm happy to hear that. Now, Jim, before we ask you what you've been doing outside of Hearthstone, I got to understand: is your name spelled the Jiminator JIM, or is your name spelled Jiminator GYM?
It's JIM, but I've been doing a bit more of GYM. Yeah,
What's a
it's
what's a
been pretty
gime?
nuts.
Oh, a gime.
Sorry.
Simpsons reference. You ever hear that? It's like, what's a
Oh,
gime? He goes to the gym. Oh, a gime.
yeah. I'm I'm always working at the game. But yeah, no, it's been really interesting outside the game. I had a fun little challenge basically this year. I celebrated a weird physical milestone. Basically, at the end of the month, like a week back, I hit 1 year of going 10,000 steps every day. Uh, so that felt really good because it was like at first it was just going to be like, oh, I'm just going to see how long I can do it, and then I just kept doing it. So wanted to see if I could keep going, and made it for a whole year. Uh, what else? Oh, last night I went to a bachelor party with friends, which was very fun. Uh, it was a bit much, but it was good. The Yeah, it was a good time. And then as a part of like celebrating that 10,000 steps a day, I'm trying to do like a little challenge where it's like I try to shoot and edit a video every day for the next month, just to see if I can just get in that habit. And yeah, it's been going okay.
Yeah, I see you've done the for every sub or game loss, you're doing 10 push-ups right now. I did that. I'm planning on bringing that back myself, but I did that once, but I did it for channel points, which was stupid.
Mm. Oh God,
Um,
channel points? That's nuts.
well, trying to bring people in. Yeah, no, no, we're bringing it back again for subs next time. But like,
That's
oh,
why it went
I
away.
that's why it went away real fast because yeah, that hurt. Pilot, what have you been up to outside of the game?
We survived the end of the school year for us. So for the most part, we have one work day left tomorrow, and then I'll be in most of the week just getting stuff done. My contract has extended days basically because of marching band stuff before school, and then picking up all the pieces after all the performances after school is done. So just have to get inventory, repairs, clean up, find my desk, all that fun stuff this week. But got through all of that, including our we do Memorial Day parades for we have our district covers a bunch of tiny towns. The two main quote unquote main towns, the biggest ones we do ceremonies and stuff there. The one every main road has been torn up because they are repaving.
Ooh.
So plus they redid a sewer line right at one of the main intersections where the parade route started. So we had a lot of pothole and obstacle dodging during our parade. Good news, our practice field is normally awful, so it kind of felt like marching on our practice field in the fall, but it was interesting to say the least. Um, Outside of that, been getting back into a little bit of Hades 2 here, in prep of what we're going to record tomorrow. Um, and then also been playing a ton of Forza. I've already put like 30 or 40 hours into Forza Horizon 6. I finished up the quote unquote kind of the main part of it to where I've hit the gold wristband and the gold badge for completing different events and stuff, and now just kind of going through and completing challenges and whatnot and enjoying driving around in that game. It does a good job. It almost has like the roguelike feel of like the Hades or Balatro, where it's just like I'll do one more thing because it so easily takes you to another thing that's right there. Just like I could do one more race. That's like 5-10 minutes. Okay, I'll do another, and then it's like an hour and a half later, and I should have been in bed. I've done a lot of that this past week.
Those are the best kind of games.
Yes.
And I have so I've mostly been doing yard work when I go home on the weekends. Of course, now it's New England, so every Saturday it rains, which is just typical for the course. So again, I didn't get as much done this week as I wanted to. Although we did get the grass. We're recovering some grass so the dogs can go back in the backyard again, which is probably it's not been good that they don't have access to that. But we got that grass planted now. I have one more raised garden to fill up, which is going to be a pain in the butt, but hopefully I can get that done next weekend. And that's pretty much it. I played some Hades 2 again yesterday. Again, we so for those that haven't heard, and we have a ridiculous hat coming on the show tomorrow. It's not going to be a typical Hearthstone show. It's going to be a little different. It's going to be our first bonus episode. So we'll see. Well, as Pilot said, it's our second bonus episode. Our first bonus episode was really when Doc retired, but this is our first real like content bonus episode. And so they added a new thing, and I'm not going to get into details for spoilers for Hades 2, but I hadn't played Hades 2 in about a month or two, maybe 2 months. And I went back into it and I went, right. Oh, they was like, hey, what's this new thing? And I said, okay. So I went over, did the new thing, and I didn't realize I was still on Fear 20, which is like the difficulty settings that you go on. So I'm going into this thing, this brand new thing that's hard enough as it is apparently, and I didn't realize the fear would translate to that. So all of a sudden I'm seeing little green eyeballs going everywhere and extra mobs and things going faster. It's like, what the heck is going on? This is not cool. And I'm like panicking. I'm like, this is wait, what? So is this mode just that hard? I'm like, wait a second, I had fear. I had the fear on. So it is what it is. But Pilot, do we have any other news?
Just a little bit of news this week. We got the announcement of the announcement in classic Hearthstone fashion. There's been teasers on social media the past few days for the expansion announcement that we are expecting to come up this upcoming week. We do know from things that they've talked about that it's going to feature Vanessa Van Cleef, and it sounds like they were talking about I heard on Coin Concede that some of the videos had codes hidden in them for the new one. So we know the name is Escape from Violet Hold. And that's about all that we know for that. I don't know anything about it because I didn't play WoW. So I don't know if Tito, you have any exciting expectations or guesses for it that you played.
Yes, what? Sure. So the Violet Hold is a 5-man instance that was in during the Wrath of the Lich King. It was right in the main city of Dalaran. You just had to go like into the dungeon right there. It was a prison. You basically had 3 waves. It was one of those types that where you go in, you start it up, you get 5 waves or whatever, and then you had a boss, and then you had 5 waves. You had a boss, 5 waves, and you had the final boss. And there was dragonkins that would come at you, and then it was like there were like 12 different I don't know the exact number, but there were like 12 different prison cells, and each prison cell would open up and be random, and you'd have a random boss to fight. And it was fun. So I'm expecting this. Yeah, so I was confused. I thought this one was the Van Cleef one, and if it's Van Cleef and the Violet Hold, maybe she's raiding the Violet Hold. I don't know, but the thing's called Escape from Violet Hold. Maybe she was stuck in there. Who knows? But Dalaran is the city of like mages, so I expect there to be a lot of arcane kind of stuff going on here, some dragon stuff. I don't know how much they're going to pull from the Wrath of the Lich King type stuff because it's kind of like adjacent. The city moves around. The city's been in a couple different places, so I don't know if they're just going to say, "Hey, we're now over in this other place, and the Violet Hold happens to be here, and we happen to be." I don't know. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. But Dalaran Hold was always one of my favorite ones because it was one of those nice lazy dungeons where you're like, you know what? I don't feel like flying all the way out there. Let's just go do the Dalaran Hold, and it was right there. So, yeah, no, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
That's
Sweet.
awesome.
And yeah, and then we also have this upcoming weekend, the Spring Master Tour Championship. So we had the play in or play off, whatever they called it, the other week, and now we have the 16 players for that. That is Friday, June 5th through Sunday, June 7th. The first 2 days will be group play, double elimination bracket, and then Sunday will be the top eight, single elimination with a third place match as well. That'll be streamed on the normal Play Hearthstone channels as well as co-streamed with Edelweiss, Lorinda, Pocket Train, Raven, and Sottle all casting. They do have the Choose Your Champion up for that. I believe that is live now. It's not in the. Oh,
Yep.
there it is. The link is in the blog post. I just overlooked it.
I picked Grimaldi because none of my usual people are there, and he looks like he does 10 push-ups whether he wins, loses, or breathes. Dude's jacked, so I just went with him because he looks not only fearless and focused, but he also looks fun.
I picked Gabby. He's a really good French player. I don't think I've ever not seen him overperform at any major tournament he's gone to. So I give me some packs.
I have not made my pick yet, but I should probably do that at some point tonight before I forget, like I did last time.
Did you forget last time? Oh
I
man,
did. I lost my free packs.
happens. Uh, any
Yeah,
other news?
I think
Just putting
that's it
gold
for
on the
news. We're in
table.
I know we're in a slow week. Nothing really. No patches. No real changes until hopefully this upcoming week.
Yeah.
There was a new event, so if you're listening to this now, you missed it. There was a week-long event, the Ruby Sanctum, which it was a I forget which expansion it was, but it was like this little tack on raid that they gave us at the end of an expansion because something was delayed and it was supposed to be something bigger, but it was kind of lame. So this kind of it's just you get packs. Now is the time to start not open packs unless you really need to fill out the collection because whatever packs you get now, it will count. Like especially the mage packs and the hunter packs, they're giving us ones for each of the class sets. You just open them up in a month when we have the expansion out, and you'll get more cards from that expansion more than likely. So I would hold on to them unless you really don't want to. You. I'm just saying, you might as well save them. Uh, all right. So pilot, what's
All right. Sorry, I was trying to choose my champion before I forgot, like I just said. So I'm gonna pick Maxi whenever it actually functions for me. The button didn't work. So with it being a slow news week and kind of knowing that the new expansion is coming up, we thought this would also be a good time to kind of talk about Cataclysm and kind of look back at it. So going to talk about a few different things for it. First being the main kind of keyword and mechanic that was introduced for the set was Herald. Looking back, what are our thoughts on Herald? Did it hit the way that we thought it would? Is it a mechanic we enjoy? Tito, what do you think?
so I'm mixed on Herald. We saw a lot of Herald. Herald was everywhere, but it felt like for the most part, the colossals at the end weren't as prevalent. Like we did the heralds for the heralds and stuff like that. And yes, obviously we saw some colossals, but they definitely didn't feel as like to me as the old colossals were and there was as prevalent as those or even like the titans which felt like they really were like the key focus of the things. For this it was felt more like the heralding itself was more of the focus, and eventually sometimes you got to the colossal, sometimes you didn't, but it had kind of a different feel to it. And I kind of felt like the colossals were fine, but like we all thought that, oh, Rag's going to be insane. Rag wasn't insane. Rag was okay.
Yeah.
But like I kind of wish that there was more focus on the colossals. Maybe they were you could get to them a little easier, or maybe they were a little more. I don't know exactly what I wanted, but I felt like they weren't as impactful as we kind of expected them to be. Now, Deathwing worked out perfectly. Deathwing had me worried because he was in 6 classes and he had this big impact, but at the same point, it didn't feel like every game was won or lost by him, and didn't feel like a Reno, didn't feel like an Elise. It was like a swing turn, and it created an interesting tension when you faced other decks with Deathwing, because it was like, well, you tried to like hold off, and you didn't want to be the first person to play your Deathwing unless it made sense to. So I thought that added a little extra interesting challenge, and I was completely wrong. I thought that Wicker Fang was going to be horrible. Like what? It's just stats. Who cares? And it ended up being probably the most impactful colossal out of all of them. So, and on the other side, while I am saying that I think the colossals weren't as impactful as I wish they'd be, I loved Onyxia. Onyxia was an absolute blast. Um, it felt like a good combination of things I like. I played the ton of her once I got there, and it's one of my comfort decks now. It's like you know what, let's play one more game. And the one thing I did learn, and this is a little bit of an aside to the actual thing, but never say I'm just going to play one more game with a deck like BBU on because you'll always get a priest, and then that's like a 45-minute game. So, just saying. How about yourself, Jiminator? What did you think of Herald?
I really, it was funny when you were talking about it and you were comparing it to the old Colossals because at first I thought it'd be a lot like the old Colossals, but really the thing that Heralds remind me of now that we've had it in the game is Invoke. It reminds me a lot of like the old Invoke Galakron stuff because it's like, yeah, you want to pull off the big Galakron, but really what matters is those little stepping stone plays that you get to like fight for the board. And that's sort of what Herald did really well, is that it gave you these like little stepping stone plays to keep you in the game. Uh, I'm just looking over some of the Herald cards on a separate monitor, and it's like, uh, I will say the thing that really did surprise me, I thought Demon Hunter Herald would be a lot more popular than it was. Uh, but I think DK Herald hit really well. Onyxia hit really well. Uh, I love how Rogue turned out. It was funny because before the preview event, I was convinced Rogue Herald was going to be atrocious. And then once I played in the preview event, I'm like, oh, this is way better than I thought. And then once it came out on ladder, I'm like, oh, this is exactly where I want it to be. Uh, the only thing, if I were to change one thing about Herald Rogue, would be it's unfortunate that because of how the Burgle stuff in Rogue currently works, it's basically like Deja Vu and Nightmare Fuel give it like a supercharged advantage into any other Herald matchup because it's like free Heralds and like free Herald payoffs that you get, which is very silly. But besides that, I think, yeah, Herald Rogue was my favorite, obviously. I'm a Rogue guy. Uh, but I think the reason why Herald Rogue worked compared to some of the other Colossals, or sorry, some of the other Herald classes, is that Sinestra herself, you didn't have to play her fully charged. You could get away with like the second level pretty consistently, and that was like good enough most of the time. Whereas a lot of the other heralds, it really felt like you had to go all in, or you kind of just weren't doing much. Like playing Onyxia when you're only getting 4 drops, that's kind of miserable. Like, granted, you're able to revive it later, but at that first time, if you're not able to get like a big health swing, that can really hurt. And yeah, I agree with you on Deathwing. Deathwing is like right at the border of what I want these kind of like swing cards to be. If it was any stronger, it would be probably infuriating. Uh, it comes down like late, but not super late, thanks to Ultraxion. So I think it's got a really good balance of like where you want these kind of effects to be.
Yeah, I think I called the mechanic invoke 70% of the time and herald 30% of the time. And
That is
I do like
correct.
and I do like before I pass it on to you, pilot. I did what you were talking about. I did like that aspect of the heralding where it was like, do I play my colossal when I have one more herald to do? Like I had a game about a week ago where the right thing to do was to play a one mana or a one heralded Onyxia. So he didn't. It was still level one, and by doing that early in the game, I was able to stabilize and get to the like it was the right play. But I liked having that kind of tension too of like I where I want to play one more Herald to get the value, but what am I going to do before then? So I like the way that kind of worked out as well. What do you think, Pilot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a very similar spot to where both of you are, to where um, I think it landed in a pretty good spot overall with what, four four of them being fairly meta impactful, three of them being fairly meta impactful throughout the time with Rogue, Shaman, and Death Knight. I think Demon Hunter would have been if there was a better reason to not play Spell DH, because one of the heralds for that being a minion just kind of hurts all that, and Spell DH has just been clearly the better Demon Hunter deck to play. I don't think that that's the Colossal's fault. I think that's just the power level of that deck. And then I think that Rag is probably, maybe a little bit better than like Alakir, but it just doesn't have a deck that fits it because it's in this awkward speed between Dragon Warrior and Egg Warrior, to where there's no you lose everything, because you're kind of this awkward spot in between, to where maybe some better cards around it kind of fits that kind of fit more of a in the middle, with that, to where okay, we have stuff to where you can survive, because the Warrior Heralds are definitely probably the slowest, the biggest tempo loss, like immediately on play, unless you have the Rush one juiced up already, which then it's turn 7 or 8. But yeah, I like where they landed. I did find it a little funny, Tito, that you were talking about the Colossals not feeling impactful as you played like 8 Inixias every single game that you played on stream.
No, 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 no. I get that. Yes, it was. We got to it often in Herald in Death Knight. We saw plenty of Wicker Fang. We saw, like a lot of times in the Shaman games, how often did it come down to the Colossal? Very, very, very not very
Yeah,
rarely. How many times? And like in a lot of these Colossals, the Black Blood that came, it factored in occasionally. Like that's what I mean. Is like even though my deck, the deck I was playing, was very heavily involved in that. A lot of these decks, they played them, but they rarely kind of affected the game, or they rarely even came down in the game at all. It was more about the getting to them. It was the stepping stones. It was like having quest lines. So you never completed the quest line. You did the first two quest lines, and that was enough.
there are 5 Colossals that also aren't Herald decks because they're not
Yeah.
Herald classes.
Sure. And
Uh,
how often did you see the mage? Very rarely. We saw Wicker Fang. We kind of occasionally saw Black Blood. What were the other ones?
we never see
Paladin one's
Chromatus.
not played.
No, no, you see Chromatus. Sometimes you get it off of Onyxia or Death
Oh
Knight
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for
But
No
one
one
mana.
like,
runs Chromatus.
yeah.
No one
Sorry,
runs
I
I
use
Chromatus.
play instead of run.
I you know what? I'm actually going to defend Chromatus. I think there might be a deck in the future that could use it, and the reason why
Oh, probably.
I what I realized with Chromatus a while ago is that the secret is you only want to summon like one head. So you actually it's the one colossal where you want to play it on a full board, because that way like you just get the keywords and they can't get removed. But it's such a weird use case that it's like I don't know what it's gonna like what deck's gonna do it, but I think there could be a future. It's just a weird situation to be in.
But to complete that, so the Warlock one was Herald, but you almost never saw the act. You saw them Herald, but you almost never saw them play the
Yeah,
actual
Cho'Gall,
Colossal
yeah.
there.
Yeah, because they're
The
just trying
hunt
to get egg cracked.
Right, the Hunter one, occasionally there was like a 4-day period where it was everywhere, and that was it. Some streamer, Clark or somebody must have
Hmm.
did something with it, and it was everywhere, but then it died again real fast. I actually almost won a game. So I was trying to play the Herald Warrior because that's kind of the deck I like, but I was having a hard time figuring it out. And I was sitting there and it was running the what was it, the Berserker, the 2/4 every time it takes damage, gain +1 health. And I played it and I'm just like, I don't understand how we're ever going to keep this on the board and have this go face. And then my opponent played that Hunter Colossal, and I almost got enough health killing all those tentacles. I had like a 28 attack on the next one, and it was like finally just because I asked that question. But you never saw the mage, you barely saw the priest, you always saw
The
the
mage is
druid.
played in the Burn Mage.
Yeah, the Burn Mage plays it every once in a while, but
Hmm.
every once
It's
in a
just
while.
normally the
But
game's over by then
but
because it costs
again,
7.
same thing
But
with the shaman.
I I'm gonna push back a lot here though because that's no different than the Colossals from Sunken City, to where I feel like they're the popularity rate is very similar in a lot of the Sunken City ones. We remember the ones that we saw all the time because we constantly got to that point in those decks like Leviathan and things like that. But there are plenty to where they had very specific decks and that was about it. Like Gaia was only in Mech Mage because it's a mech based colossal.
yeah. I was also
Like
going to say
if
that
we
one
take
of the
off the
things,
rose tinted glasses, that's what we see.
yeah, I think another thing was that one of the things that I thought would like make the Rogue Colossal so much worse than the one from Sunken
Hmm.
City was that Krakatoa was like this perfect mid-rangey kind of fight
Yep.
for the board card. And then at first when I saw Sinestro, I was like, oh, she's like a weird value card. But then when you actually play the deck, it's like, oh, she's actually also kind of this mid-rangey kind of card, which
Hmm.
actually really works. In that apparently they love designing rogue big legendaries to be mid-range, which works for me. But yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that some of the old colossals, like we totally forget stuff like Glug, the big shaman one that like
Hmm.
had all the tails, and it's like people did play that for a little bit, but it wasn't really super
It's
popular.
definitely in and out. Yeah.
Zalag only really saw play because you could cheat it out. And there were like a few ways to cheat it out at the time.
Okay,
But
so
yeah.
Cloak you never played the druid one, you never played.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, Kolak was just awful.
Hydralodon you played all the time.
Oh yeah.
I understand what
Hmm.
you're saying about Gaia, but we were playing Gaia for the whole time they were out. It was a lot of Mech Mage, but it was still Mech Mage, and you still played it. Leviathan
What
was
one set?
Yeah,
Mech Mage
Mech Mage
faded
was
pretty
like
quick.
just during Voyage, but it was popular during
It was
Voyage.
good.
yeah. Leviathan played all the time. Blackwater Behemoth, that card can die in a fire. Krakatoa was always there.
Mhm.
I know we Blood wasn't as played as much as I remembered it, but that's because of the community I was involved in. We liked Glug. Gigafin was always played. Nelly had decks. Well, I mean, we played Pirate Mage for Pirate Warrior for like ever, and then you had the Neptulon found his way into things. Ozmot,
Ozamak.
not I was Ozmot, not really, and then Phelan, which put 3 Colossal Minions at the bottom of your deck, did see plenty of play. So I would
Mhm.
say that the Sunken City were much more played than the other
So
one, but
I don't think that I wouldn't say that the popularity is much different, but we also have there's a big difference with this set to where half of our colossals are deck specific to where
Yeah.
you're not playing these 6 that we were talking about with the heralds without the rest of the herald deck. So if the herald deck isn't good, the colossal's not good.
But that's not. But that I disagree because the Herald cards, like I was saying, we didn't see a lot of the shaman. You played the shaman card, you played it in the deck. You didn't see it very often because all the Herald. That's all I'm saying is like
No,
that.
that's
Well, I mean, it still does impact the game, and it
yeah.
is like a valid like end game condition. It's just not like it's like you're able to consistently kill people before it comes up,
Yes.
but that doesn't mean it
Right.
doesn't do anything.
No, that's not what I'm. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is like I wanted to see the Colossals be more impactful in the games, but a
Mm.
lot of times the game was overs before we could get to those Colossals because of the mechanics that were the Herald mechanic or whatever. Like a lot of times those mechanics, the Colossals weren't impactful at the end because you rarely got to them. Same thing with like the Demon Hunter, and that was just my opinion. Like I'm
No,
not
yeah,
saying they were
yeah.
bad. I'm not saying they were bad cards. I'm not saying I just saying I wish the design of them had them on the board more.
No, I get what you mean, but I think that's not so much an issue with how the cards were designed. I think that's more of an issue, or rather, not how the Herald cards and the Colossals were designed. I think that's more of an issue of the other cards in the set. Like, for example, Paladin's Toolbox, especially at the start of the expansion, was uh, very strong, or Token Druid, uh, very strong, very like oppressive kind of start of the game that kind of determined a lot of the early game for the first bit of the season was basically, can you get your little guy to stick on board as long as possible? Can you kill them by like turn 7 or 8? So that obviously is going to mean that when you're going to have like 7 or 8 mana colossals, they're not going to come up as much as you'd like
Yep.
to.
Uh, uh,
So I think that was kind of the issue, is that it's like the meta itself sorry, the meta itself was tilted a little more aggressive than we were used to.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but it also meant that we didn't get the colossals out as much as we wanted to. So
Yeah.
that is a overall symptom of everything. That's it's like, you know, all the things Mr. Burns going to the doctor and all the things trying to push us through the door and they all can't get through. It's just kind of like, again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying they're bad card design. I know the meta is what it is. I'm just saying that I would have liked to see more colossals more often. That's it.
No, for
Like
sure.
you guys are making me sound like, or especially Pilot making it sound like I'm
I
saying bad things here. I'm not. I'm saying that I'm just saying that I wish I would have seen them play. I wish they would have been in a place where they were on the board more often. Outside
I
of
My
also got
word.
lost
just
in your
Harold.
argument when I asked about Harold, and the first thing out of your mouth was Colossal. I'm like, I'm confused where we're going with this.
Yeah. But
Well, that's
I will say one thing that like I think is good is that
Hmm.
even though we didn't see him this expansion, depending on how they design the next two expansions, that can actually change how like the math on how
Yes.
often we see colossals and heralds.
Hmm.
Okay, again, Demon Hunter I think has that issue where it's just the no minion deck is so popular and like just that much stronger. But maybe we'll see like more of a tilt in towards these later games in the next few expansions.
Hmm.
And whenever that happens, we're gonna see Chromatus OTK, baby. No, I'm kidding, but we're gonna see just more of these like slower cards be able to slot into the meta better. Like another card that like I loved the way it was designed, and I've been very sad hasn't seen a lot of play is Victor Nefarious. I think that's a very
Hmm.
cool Death Knight card, and I've always loved the crafting custom things in Hearthstone. And that one's just been very cool. And there's some very silly like interactions you can make, but there just hasn't really been a home for him yet to be like competitively viable. But if we see a slower metagame, one or two big dragons, he could slot right in.
yeah. I thought about
For
putting him
sure.
into Anixia. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they're in spots where I don't think the needle moves too much for Sinestra. Just if Burgle stuff works, then Sinestra is going to work. Um, the Shaman one might kind of peak where it's at, just because it's very as strong as it is. It's very curve based, and we see as the meta refines, normally it's gotten weaker. That's why we also saw fewer allocators after the first 2 weeks, just because it got more hostile to the Herald Shaman, and
And the
it
0-3
beats
got
up on
nerfed.
what?
And the 0-3 got nerfed too.
Yes, it did. I forgot that got nerfed early on. Um, I think if we get more reason to play minions in Demon Hunter, then or if the spell Demon Hunter payoff cards get more nerfed, if hold eventually gets hit, then that opens up. The problem is, like, if you look at the Herald DH list, there's three on HS Guru with very low sample sizes that are above 50, and 75% of it is the no minion version, and its payoff is just 2 turns later because Ajar is 8 and Hold is 6. If those are closer together, there's a good chance that that deck is just as played, possibly. Rag, if Egg Warrior isn't the way to go, then I could see that in a more mid range to control deck. Anixia is going to stay strong if Blood Decay is strong, and Cho'Gall will exist in the collection.
I dislike egg. I don't like egg.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised how strong Egg has been, like just in general. Because like when that card was first revealed, I was like, yeah, could be cute, but like it's been really like determinative in a lot of game design, specifically Egg with and Endbringer Umbra, like that.
Yep.
Oh my god, when the Warriors or the Warlocks get that on curve, that always makes me go crazy. Like, oh,
And I think I wouldn't hate it so much if it didn't have taunt. It just like
That was
I
the
don't
buff,
think
though.
I know, but I think they can revert the buff. I don't think they needed to
It wouldn't have
make
surprised
it
me.
yeah, I mean, a 2020 is good enough. If a 2020 is not good enough, like, you know, and as much as I play the companion hunter, I can't wait till there's more 10 mana beasts in the thing. And can we just take elusive off of Tortola. A one man, a 130 taunt does not need elusive as well. Like it's just, especially given how many times we have managed to get Tortola down long before 10 mana. Like he keeps getting me down at 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana. Enough already. Let's he keeps doing the Edward, the dodging the nerfs, right? So I don't know.
You just gotta run. You just gotta play priest and run Natalie Celine.
Or
Yeah.
cease to exist.
Or the
Get it?
stupid or the crazed alchemist, and sometimes use it on your own Tortola, sometimes you use it to kill theirs. Um
Just have a 731 for 7 mana.
so Pilot, what was your favorite card or package from the set?
I had to look at what the cards and packages were again really quick because I wasn't expecting the answer first. Um, I
You wrote
think
the questions.
I did, and I didn't think about them, obviously. Um, I think that my the low hanging fruit for me would probably be. Oh, I've probably got two of them. I think Calic is still my favorite card from this set, and just the Burn Mage in general, just because that's a playstyle that I like. Um, Very close to picking one drop Hunter with Tolvir, but that's very low hanging fruit as well.
Well, that's so to confront the Tolvir. Like we're talking about the cards and packages, so like not just the deck. So is
Isn't
there any
Tolvir
particular
this set?
card? Yeah, it might be the
Oh, there
set,
it
but
is.
yeah, it's
Yeah, it
definitely
is.
it is a
It
set.
is.
But
I
like,
just didn't scroll up far enough alphabetically. I thought that was losing my mind.
I thought you kind of veered into decks more than the packages, but that's okay. How about yourself there, Jiminator?
Um, so I just took a quick look over the cards of the set, and if I were to say like which one was my favorite to play, it's Agent of the Old Ones. I don't know why. Like I
Hmm.
thought this card would not be that good, but I love what this card opens up as like. I just love this whole being able to target things in your hand mechanic that they introduced this set. I'm very excited to see how they develop it in the future, because this opens up so many interesting like little synergies and like ways to kind of like mold your hand to pull off stuff. Like maybe we'll see more of these kind of effects in like Demon Hunter, and then Outcast will be like a whole mechanic you could build around more. But even in Rogue, just I love Agent of the Old Ones because it's like it's such peak rogue design. You turn something you can't use right away into a coin that you can use right away, and you're gonna have to use right away, uh, or you save it for like the next turn. But yeah, Agent of the Old Ones is probably my single favorite card that I was playing a bunch of. But in terms of like my favorite design of the set, I think it's Cursed Chains out of Warlock. Like this card, that card, I always had a soft spot for the self-eating mechanic, and Cursed Chains is such a sick payoff. That's also like an interesting kind of removal tool that can be used in all sorts of different Warlock decks. Like it's not just limited to self-popping decks. It's basically like you can play it in almost any kind of Warlock deck that can if you even if you're aggro, just remove a taunt for
Hmm.
a turn. Yeah.
So my favorite card is Ajara's Triumph, easily. Like that card is everything I love about Hearthstone. And I played the heck. I did better than I thought. It wasn't. Was it a good deck? No. Was it an okay deck? Tier three, low tier three? Yeah, probably. I obviously I played a ton of it, and I tweaked it, and I get to play it again in a day because now I can play bad decks again. But that's just so much fun. The old god card there I hate because I don't like having to like I'm like these are all cards I want. Like these are cards I put in my deck. I want these cards. Why would I want to turn one of them to a coin? And I get it. It's very but I have a hard time being like I want to. Okay, I got to turn this into a coin. No, don't do that. So, but yeah, Anixia is super fun. I'm really mad that Crystal Spine Cub paid for the price of Imbue Shaman or Imbue Druid because I even took the deck out last night. So I took out I took the exact list I was playing with in the first week of Cataclysm no, didn't change anything, and I put that into I ran that last night, and I went like 7-3. It was fine. It was still fine, and Crystalline Cub still did good stuff, and it should have been a fine. It was a good one. It was a good one drop, and if it wasn't for Imbue Shaman, it would still be a good one drop, and it would be still playable. It would still be good. The one card I might change out now is I might put Rune Totem into that deck because more treants, and that's a good little end top end to a deck like that. But also, what was the Brood Watcher? I love Brood Watcher. And that was a card right from the beginning that I got right from the beginning, and I was like, oh, this goes in here. And nobody was playing it, and I was playing it. People were like, what the heck is this? And that felt really good. So, but yeah, Ajar's Triumph, 100%. No notes. How about
Yeah.
Deck?
Hey, I'm going to jump back to one thing. I thought that it was more of a package with confront the Tol'vir because I thought that they put more one drops in Hunter this set. It was just the 2/2 elusive, which was a very good card, but that was the only other one drop that they added for Hunter this set that goes in that deck. I thought that there are a lot more cards that they put with that. Right now, it's just like, nope, we just had a bunch of good one drops in Hunter.
Right. But what about so decks for you, Pilot? You have obviously Face Hunter, you have Burn Mage. Anything else?
Um, yeah, I think Burn Mage and even Leyline Mage, as bad as it is, just those two mage decks are probably the favorite that I've played. Although I did enjoy the Face Hunter more than I thought because it was a little more, it felt more decision dense than uh Face Hunters of the past, and it had a lot more reload than Face Hunters of the past for sure.
How about yourself there, Mr. Jiminator?
I got a few. Obviously, Sinestro Rogue, always fun to burgle, and Sinestro is a sick payoff for the burgles. The big bounce dragon's a lot of fun too if you play that. Uh, but for other classes, um, so before rotation, I was playing a lot of Discover Mage, like a lot of Discover Mage, because I was obsessed with abusing the Eudora or the tourist, the Skylar the tourist to let you play Eudora in Discover Mage, so you get duels treasures. You get 6 duels treasures from one casting of Eudora. So that was a really fun mechanic in like a minion Discover Mage. While Eudora doesn't exist anymore, I would if the viewers need to hear anything, keep an eye out for Discover. It always can get interesting support. And while this expansion was a little more low key, there's a lot of people are discovering just how much fun the minion based Discover Mage is. And the last deck I really enjoyed was the Animal Companion deck. I don't like that at the 10 cost level, it just kind of closes the game. Like they just need to add like one or two 10 cost beasts, and that like solves that problem. Because I think besides that, the deck is actually like a really good spot to be. It is like it's strong, but it's not like super overwhelming until it gets to the 10 cost point. Yeah.
Yep. And you guys know my favorite decks. I talk about them every week, so don't need to go into that too much. But Jiminator, what decks or packages you hope get a little support or going forward in the next
Well, I
expansions?
just brought up Discover Mage, so I'm always keeping an eye out for Discover. You know what? Hot take. They could have saved Leyline if they made either the Arcanomicon a Discover. That'd be really funny. Or if they made Crystalline Leyline a Discover. So it'd be like discover a 5 cost minion for 5 mana. Discover a 5 cost minion to summon, sorry. So then after you have the quest complete, you get 3 5 drops or whatever you upgraded it to at that point. But even besides that, I'm excited to see what they do. There's certain cards that I'm like, are we setting up for the future, or is this just like a bad idea? Like Isarath and Rogue. I've there's a bunch of people in my chat who are convinced Isarath is like the future, or like they'll have like their Herald decks where they put in Isarath and 2 of the Spider Bounce card, but I'm not convinced. But maybe we'll do something in the future with Isarath. Who knows? Shaman has some cards that I was looking at, and it's like they might not do anything yet, but maybe there could be something cool, like air support. The give a friendly minion Mega Wind Fury, even though it can't go face. Like maybe there'll be like a weird deck where it's like you summon something for your opponent, and then you give your thing Mega Wind Fury to like super kill it, and maybe that kills them. But I don't know. There's like weird little tools that were like sprinkled in this expansion that I think with the right support could be pretty fun decks.
What about yourself, Pilot?
Yeah, I felt like I was excited for Shaman going into this set, or maybe that's the last mini set I never quite panned out. So it almost has enough kind of a quicker tempo tools. I think the two that stand out to me that don't quite have what they need yet, but might be close, are if they do anything with like the fell DH, because we've got a handful of cards that care about fell spells now, and we're starting to get more actual fell spells. It just kind of doesn't have enough to like super lean into it quite yet. And then also the hand buff Death Knight. We got a handful that care about, we have the 4-cost dragon that refreshes mana crystals when it attacks based on its attack. We have the 3 costs that gives a minion in your hand or battlefield attack equal to this minion's attack. We have a bunch of that stuff. And I still love the 2-drop that gives you the spell that does damage equal to its attack. It's just, I don't know if it's not there yet or if people just haven't tried it yet. I feel like myself or Tito on stream, we got blown out. One of us got blown out by a hand buff DK at some point just a few weeks ago. So maybe it is there and just no one's playing it. But I think that that's 1 or 2 cards away from maybe being there.
I didn't test it, but Clark posted some list with the Blackwing 2-drop that maybe could be worth trying. But yeah.
I just I want some Frost Death Knight back. I was playing Arena, I got Bone Breaker in one of my picks, and I forgot how fun and good that card was. I want some frost damage.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So I'm thinking about the decks I'm playing. Like, I don't think a Nixia needs really anything. Obviously it could be better because it's like a tier C deck, but like I don't think it needs anything. Jara's Triumph kind of drew it. I don't think there's a way to just like support that. I think it needs to be in, like, I think there could be ways for it to find a home, but I don't think it's really an archetype that you can kind of like support, if that makes sense. It's like, how can I make my deck so I can get to these cards? I think we already have tools for it. It's just it needs to find the right home, not necessarily support. What I would like to see supported is more of an aggro priest, and I would like to see less control priest. So let's make like something else to do in priest be the better thing to do. Um, but yeah, overall, and this is not from Cataclysm, but I still would love to see Imbue Shaman find a home because that's always a kind of a fun mechanic. So if there's a way to evolve a little bit more or have more minions that like their advantages to evolve into or something, could be good. But overall, yeah. So Jim, was your overall enjoyment or impression of Cataclysm?
If I were to give it a letter grade, or maybe not a letter grade, like a number grade, I'd give Cataclysm like a 7 out of 10. I think there's like a lot of good building blocks for the future. I like that it was kind of like a hard reset to what we were used to for the last 2 years. But just because it's a hard reset doesn't mean that you're gonna love everything that comes out of it. Like to me, I was incredibly frustrated with Paladin's play pattern for a lot of this cycle, uh, or mainly just the tools that Paladin got this cycle. Like I really don't like that 4 mana buff spell because I like one of the biggest joys for me when they announced the core set was like, oh, they're taking Shadow Step. Okay, we're taking Crusader's Aura. Hell yeah! But but then it's like, hey, here's Crusader's Aura too, and I'm like, oh, all right. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what we'll do. I do like that it's been a lot more minion centric now. Now, if we can pepper in some like wackier combos, I'm excited to see how they'll develop that, and we'll see how it goes.
How about yourself, Pilot?
Yeah, I think I would fall in a very similar spot of kind of that, 7 out of 10 to where I do feel like most classes had something that was impactful and something to do. Sorry, Warlock. Maybe next set. Um, but a few of them, a few problematic things here, a few things that just weren't. I think the biggest thing for me, and I know, not to venture into other people's salt mine stuff too much, is there's just not a ton of stuff that's like super exciting. Like, a lot of the good decks are very, very prescribed kind of play patterns sometimes. And that does get a little frustrating at some points, to where, couple more decks that have some more interesting things, I think could help, but it definitely is better than we were 6 months ago for sure, and fewer fewer things that arrived, dead.
Yeah, and I get like I think we're grading on a curve, right? Because we're grading on a year of like one of the worst metas that Hearthstone's ever had. And we were all ready for new stuff. So I like just the fact that we were doing no more Ziliacs, no more Elise every fourth turn for everybody. That kind of thing. I think that by removing those, Cataclysm got a boost, an artificial boost almost. Just because of like the rose-colored glasses that Pilot was talking about earlier, kind of apply here. So,
Hmm.
like, I think I agree with you guys. Probably like a 7 out of 10, but it probably really is more like a 5 or a 6 if we weren't coming off such a crap year. So, but this is also a way of everyone always wants something out of Hearthstone, and when they get it, other people aren't happy or they're not happy. It's like, hey, we want more minion-based combat and we want less combos. Well, you got it. And now it's like, well, it's kind of boring. The one thing I really wish they had done during Cataclysm is we had very few balance patches or very little bit touch. Like we had the imbue stuff and all that. And yes, the meta has been balanced and fine, and that's fine, but that also ends up being boring for a lot of people, right? Like I don't mind it because I like a solid meta where I can try to become a better Hearthstone player and I get to know matchups, stuff like that. But just because the meta is balanced doesn't mean the meta is where it needs to be. Like buff cards, change cards, alter your core set, do stuff, shake things up. Because if everyone's happy for if the meta is fine and there's no big power outliers, you need power outliers because that's what's fun. And sometimes they drive you nuts, sometimes you hate it, sometimes you love it. But if there's no power outliers, then it's kind of like then you get to the place where people get bored. And I mean, sometimes if you hate a power outlier, yeah, you're complaining about it, but you're at least engaged because I hate this deck. So I think that even I would like to see them be a little braver when it comes to balance patches. Not just I don't want to see them delete decks, and I think they're better at not deleting decks. Like I like to see them bring things like Imbue Shaman needed to be deleted, right? But that made sense.
If you druid,
Um,
Druid. Yeah.
yeah, what did I say? Shaman, imbue druid,
shaman.
imbue druid, imbue druid. Needed to be deleted. That's fine. And sometimes that has to happen, but for the most part, just tweak something. Like, all right, this is a card that hasn't been getting much play. Like, don't just give it like a safety nerf of hey, here's one extra mana or something like that. Make it impactful. Add
Yeah.
some
Be
things,
bold
change some
with
things.
buffs.
You have an opportunity or nerfs or whatever. Mix things up in a way that you have an opportunity with a completely digital card game that you are not limited to like hey we can't change this because everyone has paper copies everywhere. We don't. And just change them. And people are going to complain no matter what. People are always going to complain, so it doesn't matter if things are good or bad or ugly or happy. So just be creative, be brave. That's all I would like to see. And I know that's a little a tangential to what we were saying about impress enjoyment, but I would have liked to have seen that. And yeah.
Yeah, be bold. Make Edwin 3 right before a holiday break. What could go wrong?
Well, no, 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 but you can learn, but I completely, but like if you made Edwin 3 and you did it not before a holiday break, you could have brought it back in 2 weeks, right?
Well,
So,
just for an example of like for me the example of where they should have been like more bold with their buffs. Leyline Mage to me is like the perfect thing where it's like, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw Kibler's video that he posted like last week, or maybe it was like a little more than a week ago. Anyway, he posted a video and he basically pointed out that crystallized ley line, the one that summons a 5 cost minion now, that's almost more of a nerf than a buff. Like just in the way that how the deck wants to play. And there is like interesting ways you can approach some of these cards where it's like, okay, this mechanic didn't hit. Well, what if we keep the soul of the card, but change the text more so than just number go down? So yeah.
And that's the other good point is they had this whole new kind of concept of class sets, and they have a thankless job, the developers, because if things are too powerful, people complain. If things are too underpowered, people complain, and it is hard to nail what even is the right spot for something to launch. However, I would have liked to have seen that era on, like, especially because they needed these things to hit. This is a new thing we're trying. Get excited about it. Let's go. They should have been stronger. Companion Hunter was fine. Um, the 2% of people play Do Paladin. I tried it. It's not only is it not great, it's boring. Um, the druid cards are fine, but like they needed to come out and they needed to like really kind of make it so that maybe it was a problem in the meta for 2 weeks and then we shift things or whatever like that. But really bring attention to them instead of being like, yeah, we want to play Leyline Mage. Everyone's excited, but then it's like, oh, it sucks, you know. So that was another thing. Like I hope that they learn from this, and when they come into the balancing of the class sets for the Violet Hold, Escape from the Violet Hold, that they kind of increase the power level. And I know they say we're getting 2 things of Death Knight. I think that's BS. I think we're getting Monk. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Druid was also, didn't they, and maybe I'm totally hearing this incorrectly from something, didn't they confirm that Druid was a late change? Originally, it was a token based Druid set that they designed, and then is already strong enough they swapped and mixed things up last minute.
I did
Yeah,
not hear that, but
I actually like what they did with the Druid mini or the Druid class set, because all the other class sets were like, here's a deck, play the deck. And the problem with that kind of design is that either it works or it doesn't. But with the Druid stuff, it was more like how the older mini sets were designed, where it's like, here's some things that can work towards a deck, but the rest of it's mostly free agents that you can kind of put in any kind of deck you want. So that's why, like, even though the Druid stuff hasn't been super impactful, we've seen some of it pop up in like the Marithra deck, where like they'll be using the 7-drop or the 3 mana draw 2 or draw 1, get 3 armor. If you didn't play a minion, do it again. Like, I like that the Druid stuff was a little more free agenty. I think that like like in the future, basically, what I'd want to see is I'd want maybe one of the class sets to be like, this class gets free agents, and then this other class or the other classes get new deck. But it depends on where the class is and what they need.
yeah, and I did like to, and so apparently, from what I understand, if I remember correctly, they have already said that this is going to be the last set where we get kind of like not a parasitic mechanic, but a mechanic that the set is based around, like Herald or Big Words,
Oh.
whatever. It's supposed to be more open going forward. Pilot, you I remember whatever. Right?
Yes, I think they said in that first dev update video that they, because last year we had Imbue and Quest that were all like their deck building mechanics, and Herald is as well. And I'm pretty sure that they said that they were not going to do another quote unquote deck building mechanic for the next 2 sets. They're going to try to limit that to once per year, and this was the one for this year.
Cool.
And I talk about the mini set. So we said Dude Paladin was a bust. But I like the idea of Companion Hunter that they did. They were like, let's take a tried and true mechanic and just twist it a little bit and make it a little more interesting. It would have been kind of cool if they would have, like, if you were at the 5 mana, it had like the picture change and you had 3 different minions from that 5 mana pool or something like that. But and agree, they needed to add in that pool. They should have added in the neutral set or something. They could have, again, I wish they would just start using the core set more often. You could have just introduced like 3 more tier 10 minions or 10 cost mana minions into that pool, so we did not have this constant three really really good drops in that pool. Like they could have changed around that. But I love that they were adventurous with the um, hunter. I don't know who came up with that, but I thought it was really really cool, and I still think it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm always a sucker for late game hunter decks, so I really like the animal companion deck quite a bit. At least more than I expected, because in my head, when I was first doing the math, is like I thought that like you would never want to do 4 cost beast. I also thought you'd never want to do a 5 cost beast, and then a 6 cost beast maybe. But then when you actually play the deck, it's like, oh, you can actually get away with like a 5 cost beast every once in a while if you're in a rough spot, and you might not
Hmm.
lose the game. It'll be okay. And then 6 cost can actually be pretty good, and 7 cost. Oh my goodness, if you get that the mythical terror or whatever from Demon
410.
Hunter, where
Ugh.
yeah, that's like you're back in the game every time you hit that. Yeah.
I've had many games wrecked by Mythical Terror or Mythic Terror, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I really like that. Like I think a lot of times you think, oh, I just gotta get to 10 as fast as you can. But I really like the games where it's like, okay, what three minions do I have a pool of? And do I now and having to navigate a game where it's like you're playing against something that's more aggro, it's like, okay, how do I make what I have work? And
Hmm.
then you and again, it's always the tension of, well, do I want to go up? Do I want to play my tame pat and my confront the Tolvier now? Or do I kind of say, okay, what do I have at the 5 cost right now, and how can I survive on that and all that? And I think that's some really interesting tension. I know I keep using that word tension, but that's kind of what I've liked about it, and whatnot. So um, yeah,
See, those are some of the things I think have been missing. Like, Leyline Mage, has a very similar thing. If you upgrade things, but you have no idea what you're getting, it's a very much wider pool, and it's just bad and awkward. To where I was thinking about this as I was listening to Coin Conceit, and they brought up the Libram Paladin, because they're talking about Wild Libram Paladin this past week, and we have so many things that we have right now. Like, they're not direct comparisons, but there's a lot of play these minions that support this specific package, and it makes them better. Librams was that way. You had your, when they originally released with Ashes, you had your 1 drop and your, was it 4 or 5 drop, that reduced the
Five
cost of
drop.
your Librams, that let you play them much more efficiently. And people were kind of fine with that, and it wasn't super offensive until we were using Penflinger and calling people losers 50 times a game, before I got nerfed to not go face anymore.
it wasn't me.
But but like, Leyline Mage, we have these minions that support these spells that make them better, and it's awful. And if it is good, it's going to be something that's in a really problematic spot, possibly because then it's too swingy, because you're drawing too much, or you're doing too much damage face out of nowhere, or whatnot. And it's just like, how do we kind of find that line? Because it's been a method and type of approach that's been used before and was fine, and now it's not.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
So Jiminator, any final thoughts on Cataclysm?
I guess if I were to summarize my thoughts, I'm glad that we got to experience this sort of like tonal reset to how the game's been played. Uh, I'm also glad that these are that we. It seems like we have a lot of good building blocks for the year, but obviously, I wish it could have been better. It's it was good to go through, but I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Pilot?
Yeah, same. I'm hopeful that we continue and to see more generic cards, just generic building block cards that we can piece decks together with, rather than all packages or all weird, because that's what we got a lot of the past year or so. um, but it feels like we're kind of going that direction, and hopefully, especially knowing that that was kind of what they spoke about for the next two, with not having a deck building mechanic, that it opens up room for more creativity.
I hope we get spoken like a small wrestler, some more small packages. I like those. Like I like with the play your next riffs with the relics, the whatnot. I like those little ones that have an impact. I hope that they change the leyline mage. I hope they iterate it a little bit more. The payoff there, the Arcanomicon. Did I say that right? Did I actually say something right for once? Um,
I don't know how to
I
say it, so sure.
I think I got it right. The Arcanomicon. So did you say all the words before you picked it up? So no, I hope they tweak that a bit because that should be the payoff card, and it's not, and it feels bad. And I hope they can just like I like when they take these sets and like the wild seeds or whatnot, and they kind of tweak them and they get them to the right spot. But yeah, I agree. I hope I like Cataclysm. I know I gave it like maybe like a 7, and I think it's probably more of a 6 or a 5, but I still enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I thought we had some interesting decks, and again, I hope what they learned. I hope we don't go through another year like last year. I hope they take the lessons that they learned and figure out a way to adjust the power level without killing the game and keeping us like finding a way to because this is the second time this has kind of happened, right? Maybe third. So I kind of hope that we don't go through this kind of phase again and we kind of say if we take an expansion off, sure, but I don't want to have that happen again. I don't want to have a whole another year where people are like, hey, everybody, we're getting quests. They suck. Hey, everybody, we're doing imbue. It's not good. I want to be getting the mechanics, be excited for it, but I also like when you move on to the next set and we're all excited about the new stuff and the old mechanics are still there and you still play the decks, but it's not the best thing to do. And I like it kind of when we can get to that, and we'll see. But overall, I like Cataclysm. The flavor was great. I was excited for it from the beginning. I thought they did a good job with it, and yeah. All right, so we did interview last time, Jiminator, but we do have one final question for you. We always have a question at the end of the day, and this time I want to know what is your favorite comfort movie?
What is my favorite? Sorry.
Comfort movie. Like if you like, I want to put something
Oh,
on. It's like raining or whatever. I just want to put a movie on. What's your favorite comfort movie?
that's a good question. If I were to think of one, I think my favorite comfort movie would be um, the first Die Hard movie. I think that's a pretty classic choice, but yeah, it's a good action movie. I actually, when I was in university, I did my when I was doing my undergrad, I did a minor in film studies, and I had a lot of fun writing a paper about Die Hard. I did two very silly papers. One was about Die Hard, and the other was about Kindergarten Cop. And those are like my two favorite papers I ever wrote in university. But yeah, Die Hard, it's a good movie, and you can get a lot of extra meaning out of it if you really want to.
Now, is it a Christmas movie in your opinion?
I believe it is, and I could explain my reasons, but yeah, I believe it's a Christmas movie. I believe like what's nice about it is that it's not like directly a Christmas movie, but there is Christmas themes in it, in like more than just it takes place during Christmas. Like you could argue that the villain of Die Hard is greed itself, and since like all the antagonists are driven by greed, but all the good characters are driven by virtue, and they're trying to like combat this greed, and they also are trying to like uh, it's all about redemption for the good guys. Like uh, John McClane is trying to John McClane is trying to rebuild his family. Uh, the I always forget the name of the cop character, but the cop who helps John, he's driven by like remorse and regret, and he's trying to like figure out what the heck he's doing. So and then yeah, everybody's kind of driven by like this sense of like oh they need to prove themselves slash redeem themselves, and it kind of ties into like this like whole Christmas theme of like uh, Christmas is kind of like a time of the year for you to change or to like take stock of the things that you value in your life, and also try to be the best person you can be for the people around you, and don't be greedy.
Speaking of greedy, I'm going to be greedy and ask Pilot. What is your comfort movie?
I don't know 'cause I don't watch many movies. So the only one that comes to mind for me is also a Christmas movie. Home Alone is one that I watch pretty much every year.
Fair enough. And for me, I have two: Empire Strikes Back and Rounders. And I don't know why I love Rounders. It's not. I'm not saying it's a good movie, but I love watching it. It's just it's got so many good scenes. But anyway, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so by joining us over at patreon.com/slash bread and butter HS. You get access to the raw audio early. You have a member channel and Discord you get access to. You can help us shape future questions when we have wonderful guests on, like the Jiminator. And our patron of the month is still Torby because it's the 31st. If you'd like to help us in a non-financial way, let people know about the show and just tell us how we're doing and give us a 5-star review on wherever podcatcher you listen to. If you can somehow figure out how to leave an actual message on iTunes nowadays, we will eventually find it and read it. And if you have left one and I haven't caught, just ping me and I'll make sure I read it the next time. And you can look for us at Bread and Butter HS on YouTube. Uh, Jiminator, if people are looking for you, where can they find you?
Well, thank you for asking. They can find me on three different platforms. No, three, two, uh, three. Yeah. Twitch.com, TheJiminator HS. Apparently, I have an impersonator. You look for the real deal, no underscore. Place number two, Twitter or Zwitter, whatever we call it nowadays.
Twitter.
I have an account there. I mostly post that I'm going live, but sometimes I post my opinion on movies and stuff. So if you want to subject yourself to that, you can follow me there. And then YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. It's not as active as I'd like, uh, but I am trying to post more. I'm doing this like monthly challenge where I'm posting a video every day. So this month it's active, but we'll see.
So when are you going to start having that second stream during the day where you're working out, kind of like Kibler used to do?
I don't know if I want to do that, but I don't know. Maybe I don't have a home gym, so I always have to go somewhere else to the gym because I know that like I would not be able to bring myself to work out in my house. I am like when I get into my house, it's just zombie mode. Uh,
Make sure you subscribe to his channel so he can afford a Bowflex. And also, if you didn't notice, that first Kibler was playing and then he was working out, and then he got that hair all of a sudden. It was kind of like he became Fabio. So there's like a progression there that I would like to go on because I would love to get that hair back. Pilot, where can people find you on the social media?
You can find me Pilot712 PYLET on Twitter and Blue Sky, as well as Discord. I'm in a handful of Hearthstone related Discords, including the bread and butter one.
And you can find me at Tito Santana HS on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, especially YouTube. You can find deck guides and all kinds of wonderful things that I've been trying to do on there. Overall, having a lot of fun, trying to mix things up with the shorts, try to do little weird things, and they're doing all right, I guess. And you can also find me on the Discord. I am almost always online at some point during the day, so just reach out to me. Jiminator, do you have anything you'd like to promote or shout out this week?
uh, I I guess I didn't really have anything that came to mind, but like to promote bread and butter. Great podcast. Love those guys.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't think anyone's going to hear you promote that here though. Tyler, how about yourself? Again, shout outs or anything to promote today?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out THL Team Hearth League with a new expansion coming up. Their recruitment is going to be starting soon. I think their captain applications are closing here in the next week or so. So if that's something you're looking to get into, then now is the time because normally I forget to say something until after the season has already started. But also be on the lookout from them. Every month of June, they always do a bunch of special charity streams and stuff for um, Pride Month and all that. So be looking out for that. I know 2 years ago they donated to the Trevor Project. Last year was to Trans Lifeline or something like. I think that's how it is. That's the name of it. And I think that May said that is going to be the same this year. So be on the lookout for that and support them if you can.
Absolutely. And first off, I'm going to say that tomorrow we have Ridiculous Hat coming back to the podcast, Mike. So if you are listening to this, a lot of times people only have one instance of a podcast in their feed every week. So make sure you look for that. That we have 2 episodes this week. We have TheJiminator, which we just talked to. He's a great guy. And we also have Ridiculous Hat coming back tomorrow on our first bonus episode. Both Pilot and I, so bread and butter, basically, would like to shout out Nicholas Deck Tech, who just announced that he has been promoted to final design, and he's been a writer for the team for a long time. He used to before he became a tech writer or whatever kind of writer he is. I don't know what his exact definition is. He was a lawyer, and then he used to make all kinds of Hearthstone sets, just to make them. And he got the job, and now he's got the job that he wants, and he's done a lot of work on this new set. In fact, I believe Jiminator that he had a hand in making the ancient one, or so he put
Yes.
he had a blog post about that. So you want to make sure you thank him for that. But
Will
anyway,
do.
hopefully we'll be live tomorrow. Hopefully I get this out before then, but probably not. We'll see what we can do. But anyway, guys, I think we're toast. We'll see you.
See ya.
See ya.
So yeah, that went a little long, Mr. Jiminator. So we figured we'd just cut that last segment and we'll cut. No, that's not a complaint. That's not like
Oh.
a how dare you.
Yeah, no.
That was good. And we sometimes we have. I don't want to go too long because it was already an hour and a half and or so, and we already gonna have 2 episodes this week. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you come back.
Oh, for sure. Thank you guys so much for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure.
I did think of one other thing that I hope that they eventually add support for again, because as we were talking about Colossals and thinking back to their old sets, remember how we got a bunch of cards, a bunch of Naga, and a bunch of decks that supported Naga when we first got Naga in Sunken City?
Yeah.
Do you want to guess how many Naga are currently in Standard?
It's only like 5.
More than
You're
that,
very
because we have a card
close.
7.
It is
Oh.
7.
Oof.
It is 7. 4 of them being brand new cards because of Demon Hunter.
Location.
I didn't count the location because it's not a.
Yeah,
that is
he,
a
No,
Naga,
but-
the
it's not a-
Nesperath guy isn't
Yeah.
actually a Naga. when
No,
he
I
pops
just
out.
meant that's why we
Oh.
need some, because we have that card and you have a smaller pool. We need to have that pool a little bigger. I know
Yeah.
Pilot wants Naga spell, Naga spell, Naga spell, Naga spell.
It's so much, but even like since Sunken City, we've gotten hardly anything with Naga, and having like the minions care about the spells and when they played and all that was so good and so flavorful, and we haven't used it since.
Yeah.
So
Maybe they'll
I
introduce
don't
a
think
new
we need
minion type.
another Lady Sathino, but
Oh my
I'd be
God.
fine with it.
I think Daniel would disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with it. But I also forgot about the Hunter Naga, Raz Najan or whatever it was, that whenever you cast a spell, it dealt damage to the enemy hero based on the cost.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's a lot of good cards from
Yeah.
that one.
The OG Queen Ajara was really fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's have some Naga again. Like, we did the same with Undead. We haven't had what's how many Undead do we have? Like 3?
We have to.
Oh,
we
we
have
got
an
a
imbue.
decent-
Yeah, we have a decent pool, but like
Yeah.
none that's really cohesive. We do have the imbue that does give plus attack to undead, but we don't really have a reason to play it.
Oh, we have a lot more Undead than I thought. It is just a very hodgepodge grouping.
Yeah.
And what is
Yeah.
the imbue? Is it what's the rune requirement there?
It's no runes.
No runes.
Any that can play it. There's just no like good payoff for
It's
it.
just bad.
It does have like one little advantage, which is that the 3-mana spell that imbues twice, it lets you tutor undeads, but that
Mhm.
kind of doesn't matter while undeads are as like all over the place as they are right now. But if we ever see like a cohesive undead archetype, it could be worth considering.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
I also would like to point out, Tita, that you talked about playing only good decks, but when I look at your streamer profile on HS Guru, I see something
Yeah.
called Patron Warrior.
Okay, I played.
Oh.
No,
Would you
okay.
like to explain? Would you like to explain yourself?
Yes. So I went and I looked, And I was like, are there any viable patron warriors? And I found one that had a 56% win rate. So I
Whoa.
said, okay, this is at least good enough to try. And I did not have very success with it. And what's the record on there?
0-6 on that deck.
Oh, and 6. So yes, it did not go well, but did I stick with it?
Well,
I
so you
said
got
Yep.
six games in.
I abandoned it. Well, no, because I think it's a
Oh,
little more complicated. It's not an easy deck to play to do well with. So, and I definitely made mistakes. So I was like, well, no, I did that wrong. So let's try to learn from it. But it was a deck that I found that was good. At least it had a good winning percentage. It just didn't work out for me. And then I was like, well, crap. I guess I can't.
Mhm.
Did the same thing with Dude Paladin. Like I found some lists that were like good, and I tried to make them work, and it didn't work for me. So I moved on. I think I did a
Yeah.
great job of that.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
Dude Paladin is better just using a handful and throwing it into the aggro shell that we already had.
Yeah. Ow.
All right.
She's been
Well,
super
thank you
needy.
guys for inviting me.
Thank you. I hope to have you on
Yes.
again fairly soon. I like bringing
Sure.
back guests because it's a lot easier than finding new guests, and it's always good to have smart people that can talk about Hearthstone.
Oh, well, I am someone who can talk about Hearthstone. Don't know if I'm smart though, but thank you so much. I'll see you guys all next time.
See ya.
Bye. All right, pilot. We doing the usual.
Yeah, I could give me just a couple minutes to start a little laundry because I forgot to do that
All right.
earlier.
I will see you over there. Anyone that's been hanging out, thank you for hanging out. We will be back tomorrow